morning routines sabotaging your weight loss goals? I'm Dr. Frank McGeorge. Tomorrow at 6 a.m., see the morning habits that can help or hurt your ability to slim down.
Newly released video shows a terrifying collision between two police helicopters. You can see it here. This accident happened in Pasadena, California in 2012. Watch as a crew moves one helicopter to the launch pad and then another chopper approaches shortly after, and they bump and collide there. Minor injuries only for the 6 people involved. It was pilot error as well as poor weather conditions that are believed to have caused that accident. Thousands of people in Oregon were evacuated from their homes because of smoke from a massive fire.
The fire broke out at an auto salvage yard in northeast Portland yesterday afternoon. Black smoke was visible for miles. It took hours for firefighters to get it under control. Crews even had to work overnight. Anyone who lives near the fire was evacuated for a short time. Now with the fire out, people are still being told to close their doors and windows and stay away from the smoke. Anyone who visits a mountainous region of southwest China this month will be getting a very special surprise.
Take a look. This is the time of year a sea of clouds, they call it, appears to float through the valleys and reflect the golden color of the sunrise. The clouds drift across the landscape, attracting photographers who want to capture this stunning view. Tourists usually show up in the spring, especially after it rains. That's when they say that sea of clouds is most photogenic. Pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Heavenly's right.
It is a saying you've probably heard a million times. You can't buy happiness. However, researchers at Virginia and Purdue University think they know exactly how much money is enough.
I just wonder how you come up with this. According to them, $95,000 is the perfect salary for personal satisfaction. People making that amount are best able to balance their work and their personal lives. They also found earning $60,000 to $75,000 lends to emotional well-being. In the U.S., the average household income, by the way, is about $65,000, so a lot less. However, 75% of workers earn less than $75,000.
I think when you become a parent, that's like when it explodes with happiness.
Hey, don't worry about it too much. Just worry about those kids.
That's what I'm thinking. But that's from a parent of an 8- and 5-year-old. You've had the whole gamut.
Few tuitions. But they do seem to be saying that money can buy happiness. Isn't that kind of
I guess they kind of
that's the upshot of the study?
$95,000.
I don't know. Tomorrow, a stitch in time doesn't save 9. Stay with us for that. We're working on stories from Romulus and Hamtramck, but first, here's Rod.
Business in Detroit is changing because the car companies are changing the way we look at travel.
Not a bad idea.
Tonight we'll talk about a new twist on a rental car.
Also, a credit card controversy. Trouble brewing in Macomb County, and once again, County Clerk Karen Spranger finds herself in the middle. Next. A credit card controversy, trouble in Macomb County, and once again, it's County Clerk Karen Spranger who finds herself in the middle of it.
Plus eyes to the skies. As you can see, radar is a little active in some areas. Ben is here tracking hit or miss snow showers. Durant?
Passengers on the Spirit Airlines flight from Metro Airport have quite the story to tell about their trip. It involves saving a passenger's life, and we have the images and hear from those who stepped in.
Live from downtown Detroit, Local 4 News at 6 starts now.
And good to have you with us. Off the top tonight at 6, Over the Limit. A glitch in the Macomb County courts yesterday was caused by some overspending on a county credit card. And again, Karen Spranger is in the center of a controversy.
Jason Colthorpe is here. He's been investigating this all day. So were these legitimate expenses, Jason?
They absolutely were for a national conference, guys. And the clerk telling me today if the county would stop fighting her on an administrative assistant, she would have known about it. But they say after 14 months on the job, the county believes she should know all of this already. If you faxed a document to the Macomb County Court Monday, they probably didn't get it.
Customers are not being serviced.
3 fax lines here were out of service because the auto pay setup was declined. After an all-day investigation, employees were able to trace it back to a credit card that had gone over the limit, a card belonging to Karen Spranger.
She maxed out the county-issued credit card with her name on it when she checked out of her conference in Washington, D.C.
The statement shows a 5-day hotel stay charge of nearly $3,000 plus other expenses.
I think it's more of their miscalculations of communications.
By phone, the clerk told me she was never told about a limit on the card, and this is just more wrangling by the committee conspiring against her.
I can't make the decisions on the budget. So how can I control this credit card and blaming it on me when really the blame goes back to this committee? Because if the committee was monitoring everything, they should have caught the error.
She's not even submitted a new budget for this year, so we're using the 2017 numbers.
I don't hold grudges. I want to be effective. I want to get things done. And if it's not communicated to me effectively, or I effectively back to them, I take responsibility and they take responsibility. It sounds like it's right in the middle.
Now, in our conversation today, Clerk Sprenger also alleged that former clerk Carmela Sabaugh spent $30,000 on this same trip every year. But the county disputed that, and I also talked to Sabaugh's former administrator, and she says never spent 30. In fact, spent nothing, never even went on that trip. So that's not true. I don't know where she got that.
And then Karen Sprenger, she has a couple of court cases coming up too.
Yes, that'll get going next Monday with the residency being challenged and the federal case also still outstanding. A lot going on.
Yeah, we know you'll keep us posted. All right, Devin.
Passengers on a flight from Detroit to Orlando jump into action to save a man on board. The man stopped breathing right before the Spirit Airlines plane left Metro Detroit. We've got images of the rescue. Jermont Terry live at the airport to tell us about the heroic efforts of the passengers. Jermont.
Hey, Devin, you know, the Spirit Airline flight was slightly delayed by everything that happened on the tarmac, but when you think about the bigger picture and how these passengers saved this man's life, that delay was well worth it. Images show the aftermath when paramedics wheeled a man off the plane. It was just after 9 this morning when the emergency happened.
Somebody just said, you know, call 911, and you never expect to hear that on a plane.
The call for help wasn't for problems with the aircraft, instead for someone who collapsed on the plane.
He was completely unresponsive, head tilted, jaw open, and not breathing properly.
Thankfully, a nurse was on board and quickly grabbed a defibrillator, and others did more than just stand by.
Someone picked him up from that side. We picked him up from the feet and got him from there, you know, from his seat onto the ground.
So we did CPR for a couple minutes, got an AED, put the pads on, shocked him, and it got his pulse back.
That's why they put those AEDs everywhere, and they work.
Tense moments, no doubt. Sure, Spirit Flight 802 from Detroit to Orlando was delayed, but no one seemed to care about that because they cared about saving a life.
The nurses together saved his life. He was awake when they left the plane on the stretcher.
You got the ball rolling.
I think it was a few of us that got the ball rolling. I'm not going to take any credit, but it was just, you know, an amazing chance to be a part of saving someone's life.
And those are the type of people you would want on a flight like that if you have an emergency. Now, we should point out that flight to Orlando arrived safely. Now, interesting enough, I'm guessing that the people on that plane, they had a good conversation to talk about on that flight from Detroit to Metro when you think about everything that happened, saving this individual's life. We should point out the man who was taken off the tarmac and rushed to the hospital is recovering tonight at a local hospital here in Metro Detroit. For now, reporting live at Metro Airport, Jermont Terry, Local 4.
And due in no small part to the action of all those passengers. All right, Jermont.
Indeed. All right, turning our attention to the weather, we're expecting some hit and miss snow showers this evening, but nothing compared to what you're seeing here in Connecticut. Take a look here. The dog here seemed to be enjoying the nor'easter. This part of the state could get between 6 and 10 inches of snow before the day is done.
So that's just a little perspective. That always helps, because look at this outside right now. Nothing compared to all that snow that we're seeing in the Northeast. But let's go with the miss of the hit or miss flakes, Ben.
Some of us are getting those sun rays out there, those crepuscular rays around the clouds. However, you can see that most of, when you see, they look like, you know, the little angel's rays. That's the term for them. I just thought I'd slide that in there and move on, but you caught it. Okay, here's 4 Live radar. This is where the heavy stuff is right now, coming out of Sanilac and Lapeer counties. You can see up around North Branch, we've got a pretty intense snow squall there, and another one, a bigger one, that's just cleared 69, and that is headed down into Macomb County, so be aware of that. That could be dropping visibility to a quarter mile or even less, and putting down at least a thin coating to slicken up the streets. You can see winter weather advisories in effect for Sanilac and St. Clair counties until 8 o'clock tonight, and that snow will continue through the evening. We've got warmer temperatures on tap for the rest of the week, but the best of the bunch is coming over the weekend. We'll check that out in a few minutes. Kimberly.
Okay, Ben, thank you. Investigators at the Wayne County Prosecutor's Office are processing the last of the more than 11,000 rape kits. More than 600 kits remain from a batch of kits discovered at an abandoned Detroit police facility in 2009. But even though they're nearing the end of the testing process, there's much more work to be done. Jamie Edmonds is live with a look at why the work isn't over. Jamie?
Good evening, Kim. Yeah, I mean, if more suspects or more victims are found out, obviously the work is just beginning. But Wayne County released these statistics to me. 10,000 kits so far have been investigated. They've identified 833 suspected serial sexual offenders. 833. 40 states have been impacted. Still 757 cases awaiting investigation. More than 270 are actively being investigated right now, and they've had 131 convictions. That's the work that's already done. 614 kits, that's the last of the batch, have just been sent to the lab.
614 kits, there's 614 stories.
That's Ellis Stafford, Deputy Director at the Detroit Crime Commission, a private nonprofit that assisted Kim Worthy's office in the Rape Kit Initiative. Back in 2009, more than 11,300 rape kits were found in a Detroit police storage facility. That's hundreds of victims not getting justice and possibly hundreds of rapists free to assault again.
When you look at serial rapists, if they're not caught, they're going to continue to rape.
Since 2009, Worthy's office has fought to get funding to get those kits processed. The Crime Commission was instrumental in doling out the dollars coming in and sending the kits out for testing. They were able to negotiate smaller fees than the usual $1,500 per kit.
Would have been over $17 million if you had to test those kits at that price. We negotiated a price of $498. 66% reduction.
Kim Worthy released this statement today. We have confirmed that the 614 remaining sexual assault kits were shipped and received by a private lab. The results of these cases are just the first step in the process. The investigation and prosecution of these cases will allow us to bring long-awaited justice to the victims.
I believe justice, albeit delayed, is being served.
And you heard from the prosecutor, this is just step one in the process. They have to investigate these cases and then hopefully prosecute these cases. So justice may have been delayed in this case, but everyone here is hoping that it soon will be served. Jamie Edmonds, Local 4.
All right, Jamie. Switching gears now, Lester Holt and his team are working on some exciting content for Nightly News tonight immediately following this broadcast.
And Lester joins us live from New York after yet another extraordinary news day, Lester.
Hey, Kimberly and Devin, good to see you. Yeah, I used to say it's a busy news day. Now they kind of all are busy news days. We're going to talk about the firing of Rex Tillerson. A lot of moving parts here. We're going to have details on the big reshuffling at the White House and what policy changes this may herald. Also, a fascinating story about big retailers and how they're tracking how often and when you return items. Your name may end up on a list, and it could be a problem next time you try to walk something back, get a refund. We'll explain more of that when we see you coming up tonight on NBC Nightly News. But for now, we'll send it back to you guys in Detroit.
Yeah, Lester, we used to say big news day. Now I think we just say Tuesday.
That's right.
Doesn't seem that way.
It's just Tuesday. I'm going to borrow that, Devin.
You can have it. All right, we'll see you at 6:30. All right, still to come here on Local 4 News at 6.
ER visits for children with allergies are on the rise, but that's not a bad thing. We'll explain coming up.
But first, could General Motors be working on an Airbnb for cars? Back in a second. The automotive universe is evolving around us, and a lot of ideas kind of being kicked around.
Yeah, they are. And tonight there's one putting a new spin on car rentals. You're looking live at the GM headquarters, a place where innovative ideas are swirling. Local 4 business editor Rod Maloney explains.
The world is an ever-changing place. I mean, let's face it, you could rent a house or put your house up for rent. What about when you go on vacation? You've always been able to rent a car there, but what about that vehicle, the van or the car you left behind? Isn't there a money-making opportunity there? Absolutely. Airbnb for your car? The idea caught Grandma Lynn Lagasse off guard.
A little surprised. Never heard of it before. But it's interesting, and I'd like to learn more about it.
Okay, here's the thought. General Motors owns a company called Maven. In mobility speak, it's a peer-to-peer auto rental company, and automakers are preparing for the day that owning a car is just one of the many options you can choose from. And now it's a highly millennial idea. But ask a millennial like Alexa Hunt how they feel about it, and get an awkward answer.
I mean, it kind of skews me out a bit. I wouldn't personally trust strangers with my car, but I don't know how well they're driving, and I don't really have a good way to verify that.
Yes, it is a lot to think about, taking on a rental car company's liability. Now, the way this would work is you put your car up for rent, a Maven app on your phone makes the transaction, and you and General Motors share the revenue. That idea piqued Lucas Pinter's interest.
I wouldn't let my car be used for it, but it doesn't sound like a bad idea.
GM and Maven spokesperson Annalisa Bloom put out this statement today about the business. Quoted, "Maven, we're always considering new, innovative ways to make sharing easier. We have no plans to announce at this time," end quote. The one thing that we're going to have to go to work on, though, is the whole idea of, well, zoning and marketing, because, you see, we left the for rent sign on my car for much of the afternoon, and honestly and truly, the neighbors here wanted to call the cops on us. Reporting live from Clarkston, Rod Maloney, Local 4.
Of course they did.
Oh, Rod thinks that was because of the sign. No, I'm kidding. We love Rod. Good stuff there, Rod. In good health, a new look at the impact of severe food allergies in children.
But first, a surprising connection between heart disease and lead. Dr. Frank McGeorge is here with today's health headlines. Hi, Doc.
Hey, Devin and Kimberly. You know, in fact, many people do think of lead exposure as only causing problems in children. But new research suggests lead exposure may be linked to more than 250,000 deaths from heart disease every year. In fact, Canadian scientists studied more than 14,000 older adults that were exposed to lead-based paints or other products before they were banned. People with high blood lead levels had a 70% greater risk of dying from cardiovascular disease compared to those with lower levels. Now, ER visits for children with allergies are on the rise. In fact, a new study from the Blue Cross Blue Shield Association showed ER visits for anaphylaxis increased 150% between 2010 and 2016. Now, nearly half of these severe reactions were from foods, especially peanuts, tree nuts, and seeds. It's believed really that parents are recognizing symptoms of an allergic reaction, and they're just coming to the ER a lot faster, which of course is good news because it means the word is getting out.
Yeah.
We're still not getting to the bottom, though, of why.
No, why
all
this change.
Yes, yeah,
exactly.
what's going on.
Don't know why.
Yeah, all right, Tom. Well, Hollywood is shining a spotlight on a local drama club and giving some students a very tangible boost.
This is pretty cool. A new show, Rise, debuts tonight on Local 4. It's the story of a high school drama club that inspires an entire town. NBC has awarded Hamtramck High School a $10,000 Rise America grant to bring a dormant drama club back to life. Students say they benefit in many ways.
I think drama club is like for people who don't have a voice, like they have a voice but they don't like to show it. But if you be in drama club, you can actually tell your voice and what you can actually do.
Yeah.
I'd say that's pretty
Absolutely.
accurate. And it's a big night on Local 4 with The Voice kicking things off at 8, followed by the season finale of This Is Us. Then stick around for Rise, and of course Local 4 News at 11.
That's so great for the kids at Hamtramck.
It really is.
That's super. All right, here comes Ben with, it's interesting, it's again the pockets, because outside right now it looks like we got a little bit of sunshine here downtown, but depends on where you are.
The majority of us are fine right now, but it is just some very small, distinct areas that are really fighting some snow. And one of those is northern Macomb County. You can see that big old blob, and that dark blue indicates that's a pretty intense snow shower. We've got some more coming down the pike just to the north. So those areas that are just south of the county line, right around Armada, you're definitely getting your share of some of that moderate and heavy snow right now. Looks like the edge of that is just starting to reach into Romeo there along 53, not quite out to Mound Road just yet, but all of this is moving south. So areas even in southern Macomb County, get ready, especially if you're going to be on the roads here in the next 30 minutes. Visibilities will drop, and that definitely this time of night could be an issue with so many cars on the road. You look in the northern half of the state, there's not a whole lot going on here, but these snow showers just keep regenerating off the lake, and we'll likely see those around probably for about the rest of the evening until the early part of the overnight. Not a lot of us are wagging our tails, but this guy, I can't tell if he was out rolling in the snow or if he's just been sitting there letting it accumulate on his back. But this is Larry sent this in from Richmond. That's his new Husky, and I'm sure he is loving every minute of this. But if we could just get through tonight, the rest of us will love every minute of the remaining forecast. Evening snow showers fade for most of us by 11 o'clock. We will be getting another pocket, probably hanging on near the thumb until about 1 or 2 a.m. After that, coast is clear. We dry out going into tomorrow morning, and we should stay that way for the majority of the forecast. Sunshine starts us out, or at least by mid-morning. We'll see a few extra clouds in the afternoon. And then the one exception to that snow-free forecast is going to be Wednesday night into Thursday morning. This is after midnight. Just a quick snow shower skirting through. Not going to leave much behind to even let you know it was there. So if you sleep through it, you'll miss it. And we should get up on Thursday morning and resume our dry conditions. Otherwise, temperatures tonight will be a story because these are going to be the coldest numbers that we've seen all month. 22 in Detroit, but officially we're going down to 20. And there will be spots, a lot of spots, that end up in the teens for lows. Lenawee County, one of those. Adrian, you're going to be at 19. Milan, you'll be at 19 as well. A lot of teens in the west side of our west zone from Manchester to Flint, and just barely at 20 here on the other side at 275. North zone, some of our coolest numbers here, but you get up into Sanilac County where those clouds are going to hold on a little bit longer. That may bump temperatures up to the low 20s there in Sandusky and Lexington. Otherwise, highs go to 37, still well below average for this time of year. We do make some improvement, though, by the end of the work week on Friday to 39. Look at all that sunshine into the upcoming weekend. 42 Saturday, 47 on Sunday, and spring officially beginning on Tuesday of next week. So this may be one of those top-down weekends. You've got the convertible and ready to take it
Well,
out.
you know, everybody wants to push that a little bit sooner than they should, too.
Just turn on the heater, you'll be fine.
Bernie's coming up with sports.
Says the guy who likes...
Is your